Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. It is time for my April currently inked, and I just wanted to show that I stamped these, and I love these stamps. These are from Everyday Explorers, so there are two different stamp sets here. I'm not on an affiliate or anything like that. I just wanted to show that these are such cute stamps, and they're from Everyday Explorers if you're ever interested. And somebody suggested to use chalk ink, and then I went searching all day today to find one, and then realized I already own the Versamagic chalk ink. Thank you for whoever suggested that. And just as a change of pace here, just to show you, it does shadow a little bit, but it shadows just as much as fountain pen ink would through the paper, and there's no bleed through, so already am loving that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started for my April currently inked. So what I have here is my Galen Leather A5 notebook that has 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I will be using my Speedball nib, and it's the size B2 to do the little swatches. I also have something new, and I forget whose channel I saw this on, but I bought these stamps. So the nib, I bought it really for the nib and the ink, but they're all super cute, and I'm going to be using this as part of my currently inked as well. This is the first time I'm using it, so I'm still getting used to the whole formatting of this, so forgive me. All right, the first ink that I'm going to be doing is Troublemaker Kelp Tea, and this is inked in my Pelikan M800 in the brown black. Oh, one of my favorites, and this has a fine cursive smooth italic nib. So one of the things that I am trying to do, especially with my currently inked right now, is to use at least 4 or 5 inks that I have that are in bottles, and then 4 or 5 inks that are samples. And this way I'm really making use of what I have. I want to make sure that really I'm making use of things in my stash, because the last thing I want is for me to get all of these things and then realize I'm not actually even using them. So wash that Speedball nib off. And you can already see in this ink how beautiful that's looking. So I'm gonna try my stamping here. My fingers are already not full of fountain pen ink, but they're full of stamp ink. So first one I'm gonna do is this one here, and that one is not exactly where I would like it to be, and now I don't know if these are gonna line up either. Okay, perfect. So sorry, I'm getting fluff everywhere, but let's go ahead and write that. So this is my Pelikan M800 in the brown black, and this has a fine, no, not an E, fine CSI nib, and this is inked with Troublemaker Kelp Tea. And I wanted to use this ink in this pen because it is a wetter pen, and this this ink is known to be a bit dry, and so far I really like the two, and I'm excited to be able to give this a try this month. So that is my Pelikan M800 with Troublemaker Kelp Tea. The next ink I have is Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes, and this is currently inked in my Just Turnings Swirly Joyful Kismet. Now I have a story about this. You remember that I used to have white finials on this, and then I put on the gold finials that I got when I purchased my Aussie abalone. And then I realized that because the cap of this is slightly shorter than the cap of the Aussie abalone, it didn't fit the gold finial that was on there, and therefore it bent the previous nib that I had in here. So I am sticking to the finials of the actual resin. This was resin turned by Tim of Turn Pen Co., and this was actually a custom that he had done for me. But I actually like the look of this pen now that it's all together like this. I really like it as one cohesive piece like that. So the ink that I put in here is Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes, and this one was sent to me along with Queen and Castle, but this one I haven't used yet, so I was excited to get this into a pen. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but there are a few brown inks in my collection right now that I am trying to use up more. And like my tastes, both in pen and ink, my tastes change. My tastes change over time. Oh, hello puppy. Lucy's just under my desk here. So let's try line this up right here. Okay, and a little higher. Okay, perfect. That worked out really well. So then the nib that is on here is a Fine Architect nib. So the pen is the Just Turnings, and this is the Swirly Joyful Kismet. Now it's looking a little green, and I'm wondering if there is residue in here from a previous ink, because it's looking like Swirly Joyful, you know, it looks like the Workshop Wish is here, but then it's looking green here. And I'm wondering if that has other ink in here. So this has Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes, and I feel like it is mixed with something else. Yeah, it looks green. It doesn't look like Workshop Wishes. It looks like Workshop Wishes here. So we will see what it looks like by the end of the month. That is interesting. Huh, I'll keep it for now and see what it looks like when it's done. So that is my Just Turnings Swirly Joyful Kismet. It has a Fine Architect nib, and it has Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes, and looks like it's mixed with something else at the moment. The next ink I have is Diamine Masquerade, and I have to thank both Wava and Miss Marilyn Darling for each sending me a sample of this. I have received numerous people telling me that this would be an ink that I would absolutely love, and after swatching it, was it last month that I swatched this? I was absolutely convinced that I had to ink this up. So it's a beautiful kind of dusty pink with shimmer. Of course it has shimmer. And I have this inked up in my Waterman Ren. Now, that might be a little bit controversial for some people, but I wanted to run my Waterman Ren through its paces. It's such a gorgeous pen, but also really comfortable to write with. And I wanted to just see that if this could be the pen that can handle that shimmer. And, oh, there we go. That's working out really well, actually. A little bit to the right that I would have liked. So this is the Waterman Ren in the amber, and the shimmer is really coming out. And this has a fine nib, and it is a gold nib, and I love this nib. And this has Diamine Masquerade. So it's the Inkvent 2023 Masquerade, and it is absolutely lovely. I am excited to be using this. Like, look at all that shimmer. And I'm gonna do the swirls in here, because wow. From this, it just looks like shimmer, and then here, it looks like it would be a very, very perfect match with this pen, just the way that it shimmers. I am excited to use that. So that is my Waterman Ren in amber with a fine gold nib. It has Diamine Inkvent 2023 Masquerade. The next pen and ink pairing I have is Diamine Coliseum, and this is a Cult Pens exclusive. And I have here inked in my Leonardo Furore in Ginger. And I wanted to give this ink a try. I had received it from a Secret Santa, and it wasn't necessarily an ink that I would have gone for, but I wanted to give it a try, and then if I decide at the end of this month that this ink is not for me, I will probably give this ink away. And there we go. It's definitely lighter than what I would normally go for, but I wanted to give this a try. So let's try my stamping here. It seems to be going okay, this stamping. But we will see. Hey, so far, so good. So this is my Leonardo Furore in ginger, and it has a fine nib. Do the swirly swirlies in here, and I like to do the different ways you can do the line strokes, and it has Diamine Coliseum. Already I can feel it's going to be a little dry, but let's give it a try and see. Maybe throughout the month I might add a tiny drop of White Lightning and see. But so far, I mean, this was the closest I said to, it's not an exact match, but I thought I wanted to use this pen and I wanted to use that ink, and I thought, well, why not? My pens and inks don't always have to match exactly, but I want to try out different combinations just to see what would work. So that is my Leonardo Furore Ginger with Diamine Coliseum. The next pen and ink combination I am using is Pilot Ruku Chu Ren with my Pilot Vanishing Point in the forest green, and it is in the matte finish. This is from the Taiwan 30th anniversary with Pilot, and they're not an exact match either, but I thought Pilot ink with a Pilot pen, yes, I have to. And this is such a lovely springy green, and it's one of the first bottles of ink that I had ever purchased for my collection, and I absolutely love it. I think it's such a springy green, but also, you know, it's one of those that is a dependable green, if I can say that. And there we go. I actually really like the look of that stamp. I think that adds quite a lot to it. So I have here my Pilot Vanishing Point in the forest green, and this has a fine nib. Oh gosh, I love the fine nib of the Pilot Vanishing Point. I actually prefer this nib to the nib that I tried on the Pilot Custom 743. I tried the Pilot Custom 823 nib in San Francisco, and I really prefer this nib over those. So this is Pilot Ruku Chu Ren. And isn't that such a wonderful springy green? Just makes you happy, that green. Perfect. Once again, my Pilot Vanishing Point in forest green with Pilot Ruku Chu Ren. The next pen and ink combination I have here is Ferris wheel pressed knitted Nettle, and I have it in my Le Bon 325. This has a broad nib that has been ground down to a medium stub. And I'm actually just looking at the cap here. It looks quite, it's been through the wars, I feel like, this one. I really do love the size of this pen, and this one is also, this takes Yovo nib, so you could certainly switch the nib out for other ones that I have in my collection. So knitted Nettle, this was another one that was sent to me by Wava, and I love how she labeled every single one of these sample vials. So professional. And another beautiful teal with some shimmer. And I wanted to put it in a stub nib for this month because I knew the stub nib would be perfect for showing off the beautiful sheening and shading properties. I don't mind sheen when it is combined with shimmer, and in this instance I feel like it is a good combination of both. And when I have the two together, shading and sheening, the sheen doesn't bother me as much. So Le Bon 325 in the Cambridge. And this has a medium stub. Oh, look at that. And look at the line variation in here. I love it. It is so smooth. And this one was done by Mark Bacchus. And this has a Ferris wheel press knitted Nettle. Oh, so fun. I do love a stub or a cursive smooth italic nib. That's probably one of my favorite grinds. I just love the smoothness when you're writing with it, but then there's also that sliciness that I love about that. So that is my Le Bon 325 Cambridge with Ferris wheel press knitted Nettle. The next pen and ink combination is Diamine Celadon Cat, and I'm realizing how much of this is Diamine. Anyway, I'll look at it after. But it's in my newest Esterbrook, the Esterbrook SD Blue Moon. And I thought I didn't want to use this until I had the nib ground, but I thought, no, I want to use this. I'm going to use the medium nib that is in here and give that a try and see how I feel. And I'm actually using it in my A6 5-year journal. And that journal is definitely a test of how small I can get with a nib. So I love Celadon Cat. I think this was the Reddit ink that came out in 2023. And when I say Reddit ink, if you're new to the community, basically the fountain pen community on Reddit collaborate with Diamine to come up with 2 community voted inks each year, and Diamine Celadon Cat was one of those inks. I really like the lighter tone of this blue, and I also think that putting it in a medium nib, because I know some people have found this ink to be a little dry, putting it in a medium nib I think will help with that. So this is my Esterbrook SD in Blue Moon. Thanks again to Sarah of Ginger Peachy Pens for putting this on sale. This has a medium nib and writes beautifully, but I've always found the medium nib to be just a bit too broad for my small writing. But I thought, you know what, let's just give it a try. And this has Diamine Celadon Cat. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And you'll be able to see some of the shading. I'm gonna add some more ink actually to that, because you'll see some of the shading come out better once it's dried a little bit. There we go. Add more there. Perfect. And I cannot wait to see that once it gets dried. But yeah, I really wanted to give the 2 a try together because I'm still tempted to buy a bottle of Diamine Celadon Cat. I love it that much. So that is my Esterbrook SD Blue Moon with Diamine Celadon Cat. Next we have another Diamine ink. I didn't realize how many I had in here, and I will show the total when I am done. I have Diamine Amazing Amethyst in my Nahvalur or Narwhal, what is it, Voyage in Tromo. And this was I believe it was a special edition or a limited edition that came out in the summer of 2023. And I remember putting off buying it. I was saying to myself, no, I don't need it. No, I don't want it. And then I went ahead and purchased one from Atlas. I had issues with the piston in here, and I've since then been able to fix it. I haven't purchased any other narwhals since then, but I'm pretty happy with this one. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and I don't think I need any other narwhal other than this, because I love the rose gold trim. I love the abalone that's in that resin, and the fine nib in here just works absolutely beautifully. And I thought pairing it with Diamine Amazing Amethyst was the perfect pair. That resin, that abalone resin, I feel like you could use, I could have used Diamine Celadon Cat with it. I could have probably used a teal ink in there as well, but there's hints of purple in that resin too, and I think you could really use almost any of those 3 colors here. I'm going to add a little bit more because this is such a gorgeous purple and I love it. gosh, the color of my water looks crazy. Anyway, this stamp has been working out really well. I bought this off of Amazon. This is one of those purchases that I made, and I had the purchase sent to my hotel room in the US when we were there for vacation because this doesn't ship to Canada, unfortunately. It ships from Japan and only shipped to the US, so I had to wait to get it while I was in the US. So this is my Nahvalur Voyage in Tromo. There we go. And it has a fine nib. It's so smooth, this fine nib. And I have put shimmer inks in this fine nib as well, and it has worked beautifully. And it has Diamine, Amazing Amethyst. I really like this combination so far. Pretty. And this purple, I am in love with this purple, and I'm so glad I have a bottle of it. So that is Nahvalur Voyage Tromo with Diamine Amazing Amethyst. Last but not least, I have Diamine Party Time with a Zodiac Penco in the Aries model. This is the Aries model in the Arabian Nights Koi. Like, just look at that. And this is in the the matte finish. I cannot speak anymore. This is in the matte finish, and I just love the feel of the matte finish. It's such a silky, beautiful feeling on the pen, and I thought the two were a beautiful combination. Now, the thing with this ink, and I think I know why this is such a fan favorite Party Time, is because it goes down and looks kind of like Yamabudo, Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo, but once it actually dries, it dries a little darker with a fantastic shimmer. Really, really enjoyable. So let's close that. I'm surprised I haven't spilled any ink yet on myself, but now I feel like I'm gonna make it happen now that I've said it. And stamping wise, I have not done too badly. I am really liking that stamp. Works so well so far. Okay, so this is my Zodiac Penco, and this is the Aries in the Arabian Nights. I cannot spell Nights Koi. And this has an extra fine nib. I feel like in that sample, you're not going to see the shimmer as much. I will zoom it in here. But in the writing sample, it starts off lighter and it feels like it gets darker. So this is Diamine Ink Vent 2023. No, this was 2022. Party Time. And I know if you're part of the Atlas Discord or you watch any of your TikToks, this is a fan favorite for sure. So let's have a quick look at the ink close up. Like, you can see that beautiful purple shimmer in there, and you can really see it in the writing sample. And just quickly looking over all of the other inks as well. So you've got Pelikan M800 with the Troublemaker Kelp Tea. That Workshop Wishes is gonna be weird. I'm gonna try and do something to make sure that I do have the right ink in there. Then we have Waterman Ren with the Diamine Masquerade, Leonardo Furore Ginger with Diamine Coliseum. Then we have my Pilot Vanishing Point with Pilot Iroshizuku Chiku Rin, my Le Bon 325 Cambridge with Ferris Wheel Press Knitted Nettle, and just look at that shimmer. Lovely. And then my Esterbrook SD Blue Moon with Diamine Celadon Cat, my Nahvalur Voyage Tromo with Diamine Amazing Amethyst, and then the Zodiac Penco with Diamine Ink Vent 2022 Party Time. So that is my currently inked for the month of April. I don't think I have any cohesive theme here. I just basically picked which pens I wanted to write with and which inks I wanted to write with. And I'm so far really happy with my choices. But I also think with currently inked, part of it is an exploration as well. Definitely will be exploring that Diamine Coliseum. But I'm just really excited for all of these because they just look so fun. They look so fun. What do you think of my choices for April, and which do you think will be my favorite come the end of the month? Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know what you guys are inking for this month as well. Thank you again so much for watching. I love having chats with you guys in the comments below and hearing about what you like and what you don't like. I love being able to do that with you, so thank you so much for that. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and have yourselves a great day.